You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
I'm shocked when I see people that are at a company for 4 years.
I know.
You've been there for 12 years.
Right.
My man. My man. I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to my man, State Farm, my man.
Did you do any research in data and data searching on the back end? Like, have you done research on this customer? I think the biggest thing that a lot of designers do is they go right into just designing. And it's like, no, it's the research. The last thing you should do is worry about how it looks. Yeah. You should worry about how it feels. So I'm never presenting off one design. That's a horrible way to design if you have one solution. There's never one right way to do anything. To be, whether it's a product owner, product designer, architect, designer, researcher, it's really about empathy for your customer and problem solving for that.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode, but more about them later after the interview.
Yo, so one of the roles that most people that I see get conflated or get confused is roles that are in the product space. And really, we're going to touch on, y'all see what the title is, UX, UI design. Those are literally two different roles that people kind of conflate and get those mixed up. But that being said, many people have been asking, yo, when are you going to bring someone on to talk about UI or UX design? Well, I have a guest that's on today who I'm really excited for her to be on here. Not only is she going to talk about UI, UX design, she's going to talk about another form of design as well in the tech space that I didn't even know about until like we were kind of preparing for this conversation we're going to have today. Now, very excited to have her on. As always, before we go ahead and start talking again to the questions, we got to put respect on my guest's name. So Brittany Barr is a senior experienced product designer with 10 years of leading experienced product designs. She's currently the leading product designer and architect for a Fortune 500 company, and she designs and delivers B2B and B2C digital applications. Brittany Barr, thank you so much for being on Tech is the New Black.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Y'all give a virtual round of applause. If you in the car right now listening to this, tap your steering wheel, all that good stuff for our guests. So this is really dope. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for being on. So look, I talk a lot about there being different people that inspire me in some kind of way or another in terms of getting in the industry. And you know what? I've actually never really given you your flowers. And I didn't fully think about that until I was prepping for this conversation. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Brittany, you might have been the first person that planted the seed way before I actually started going down that route. Yeah. And so the way that we met, I'm not going to go too in detail, but some years back, I met her. She was on a date. I actually met her on a date with a homeboy of mine. And some years after that, her and I got cool. We stayed cool, stayed connected. And we were hanging out. And I was like learning about I remember talking about like UX design and those things. And you mentioning the company that you were at, State Farm. And it's like all these different pieces. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And I was like, yo. And I'm not going to lie. She ended up like I saw your pad. And at the time, it's going to sound goofy because now it sounds funny, but it sounds goofy. It's like, but I had never seen a spot like that before. And I was so inspired. I know, like now we look back and it's like, okay, it was small. But no, I was living in the hood at the time. Okay. So I was so inspired. I was like, I said, this girl is on it. She's killing it. And I remember there was one time we had a conversation where like you were talking about like how, like a certain car you want and things you want, and just even seeing like, okay, she wants more. Mm-hmm. And that honestly, one of the things I respect about you is that you never you never made me feel away for not having certain things.
Oh, yeah.
But simultaneously, you wanted more. And so because of that, I was like inspired to be like, it's kind of like a spark where it's like, dang, like, yo, she wants more. It's like, why am I not thinking bigger? You know,
okay.
so anyway, all that being said, I just want to give you a bunch of your flowers. Thank you so much just for who you are, who you were when we met. So I'm very excited about this conversation.
Good.
Yeah. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the conversation, get into the questions. So what initially led you, like, what were you doing before you got in the tech industry? Because I know you said you kind of accidentally got in the industry.
I did. So I went to school for graphic design, so print design. That's what I went to school for. And when I came out of school, of course, the job market was going down. It was 2008. And I just started as a temp at a company. When I got there, I was doing like data entry, things of that sort. And I knew I needed to get back into the creative space, but I wanted to make good money. And I just stumbled upon the company that I'm with still now, State Farm. They were opening up, going through this new digital transformation. And so they had postings in regards to like design work, but I never knew what UX was. I just knew I had a graphic design degree that was somewhat in the same field, creative.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really sparked my interest to look into like UX design, UI design. Those were new terms that were coming up 10 years ago. And I was in graphics. So I had some of the design principles, but I really wanted to better understand UX and just really what that meant, what that was. It was a new buzzword 10 years ago. And so I was really interested. And once I kind of looked into it, I'm like, you know what? I can really use my creative design skills, my critical thinking skills, and also make really good money. And, you know, in an area that's, you know, it's looked at as, you know, a hard area to get into, which is tech, but it's really not. So that's what made me want to get into it.
So how has it changed? Like, how's the just the whole design space or product space? How has it evolved? I mean, like you mentioned, you've been in the space now for, I mean, really almost 12 years, but over 10 years. So you've seen a lot. Like you mentioned, back then is when it was like relatively seen as a new thing.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot. I mean, you've seen pre-pandemic, pandemic, post-pandemic.
Right.
So how have you seen it evolve since you've been in the space?
I think for me, when I first got into UX, and again, the company that I'm with, bringing in, it's kind of like a startup, bringing a small startup into this big company, and taking over all of our, you know, user experience. And so trying to introduce UX to a space where UX has never been before was very challenging. So getting on new products and just trying to explain what you do. You're not a designer. You're understanding the user and building an experience for the user. So in the beginning, it was really hard getting a voice in the room as a UX practitioner. However, as you work with different products and they start to see the value that you bring and you're retaining customers, they're enjoying the experience, they're sharing that experience, the retention is really good. Yeah. And so I think now as people, the buzzword of UX is going around, they're really understanding the value that UX bring for the customer to keep that customer around. Yeah. So I've seen it change dramatically. I remember in the beginning being placed on products, just trying to get a seat at the table and talk about the user and the, you know, the importance of the user and their experience. And now on products, I mean, we have a backlog of products wanting to work with us. We need UX at the table to make sure we get this right the first time. So it's drastically changed over 10 years.
You know, it's so interesting. So I'm a co-founder of a startup right now, and when we launched, we focused more on the product, like what the product, make sure that it was a robust product, that things were working. And the thing that we did, we launched before we even had our website. So we had our sign up screen where people could use everything, but in terms of the front page, the website, all of those things, we didn't have that. And it was really interesting seeing how when we got a designer to come on and actually not just build out the website, but like them actually make it like really pretty, and also them being specific about where certain buttons should be at and certain things should be, we noticed like very quickly how just a spike in terms of people signing up, just people, we're basically like where people actually went through versus them going and being like, this doesn't seem legit or doesn't seem like proper. But now people see it and they're like, oh wow, it's like, okay, now this kind of fits. And so I know the value of it now. Obviously, that's kind of speaking a little bit more about UI than UX. But if you can, so what is, not even what is, but what does UX mean and what does UI mean?
Okay, so UI is going to be a user interface. So pretty much what you see on the screen and that interaction. Okay. UX is going to be really understanding the customer, their needs, and making sure that that experience is enjoyable and make them want to come back and are to continue to use your product.
So what would that look like? So, because I get it, like, so this is how I picture it in my mind. So let's paint a scenario.
Okay.
All right, y'all. So y'all, we about to go into scenario world right now. So fix my scenario. This isn't a problem with scenarios.
Okay.
So this is how I look at UI and UX. I look at UI like, okay, you're on a date. Let's say it's a blind date.
Okay.
So it's a blind date. You see the date. You see how they dress. You see just how they look. Maybe how they smell. Things like that.
Okay.
In my mind, that's like user interface.
Yes.
User experience is, okay, now we're on the date. How is this person treating me? How are they talking to me? Like what experience are they giving me during the date?
Correct.
And so that, of course, being separate from how they look, 'cause somebody could look amazing, treat you trash, or vice versa. So in that, like, I guess, correct my example, tell me like what tweaks you would make to that example I gave.
So I would say for user experience, it would be on that blind date, understanding what that individual likes and making sure it's the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
So it's understanding what you like and making sure that I adhere to that in every way possible.
So
to
it's
make
not,
sure I keep your attention. Maybe you tell your boys, hey, I was on this date, you know. So it's really, again, the understanding the customer, what they want, and making that experience amazing to where you want to keep them. And they share. So
it's not thank you for that correction. Because the way I was thinking was, it's like, it's the experience is just what you choose it to be. But in reality, it's more like, no, I'm trying to tailor it to you. It's almost like a person where they like, I'm tired of being single. So it's like, who do you want me to be? I'll be that person for you. Like, you need me to be a sugar daddy. You need me to be a man of God. You need me to be a thug. I'm going to tailor the experience around what it is you want.
And or if you are selling a new product and you want to, again, be different, it's finding that demographics and making sure you're tailored to that as well. So it's a lot of different things, but it's really about adhering and understanding the customer and how you're going to adapt to that and change that to make them want to come back.
Whether you're dealing with tough decisions centered around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy is the piece that keeps us connected and grounded about the things that really matter in life. So that way we can move forward with excitement and anticipation. And for everyone who's thinking of starting therapy, I personally suggest that you use BetterHelp to give you that assistance. And what I love about BetterHelp is that it's entirely online and it's designed specifically to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So make sure you visit betterhelp.com/TNB to make sure you get 10% off your first month, and let us know how your journey in therapy is going.
Okay. Now there was another one that you had mentioned we had talked about offline, which is research design.
Yes.
I'm not going to cap. I've actually never even heard about that. So I tell y'all, that's why I love having these conversations. I'm a very huge fan of the industry, not just because of the money and the opportunities, but really because there's so many different intricacies when it comes to it. So we talked about UI design. We talked about UX design. What is research design?
Okay, so again, that term is used very broadly, but I just say a researcher.
Okay, research.
And pretty much, I feel like a researcher is the most important individual on the team. They're the ones that are going to give you the information about your customer. And so you have a lot of different research that you can do, but pretty much they are the ones that goes out and collects the data around the customer. Right now, with my company, when I'm working through different experiences, whether I'm journey mapping, whether I'm prototyping, or just building out wires, I sit hand in hand with my researcher. When I'm putting a button here, or even the verbiage that I'm putting on the screen, the researcher is able to dig into their notes and, our customer here doesn't like this, or our brand stands for this, and so our customers really like this or that. And that really does make or break a design. Like, you can change one word on the screen and it can completely change how many customers you get to flow through that screen. So the researcher is very important, where for me, even though I connect with them daily, I'm more so looking at the architecture on the back end. And when you go from this screen to the next screen, you know, what is that experience like? But the researcher is really going to help me understand what's going to keep the customer. And so I think research is so important. You have a lot of good products out there that are really cool products, but if you don't know your customer base, they're not coming back.
You know what I wonder is, so this is really interesting to me, because this makes me think about, you know, like the company that is the biggest CRM or the most popular CRM, which is Salesforce. Amazing company. I know a lot of people that work there. A phenomenal company and phenomenal what they've done. But the thing that I see most people on LinkedIn talk about or complain about when it comes to Salesforce is they're like, man, it's not very intuitive. It's not the most user-friendly platform. It's like really busy. It's not the most attractive. Now, obviously, they have so many features on there. It's like, okay, well, how do you make it attractive when there's so much they're offering? But at the same time, as I'm thinking through this, I'm like, man, I wonder like what their, I guess, researcher is doing in terms of like fixing that or addressing. I would ask you, so if you were at Salesforce, because you're a senior product designer, so you know some stuff.
Okay.
You a big dog. You a big dog.
Okay, we're gonna say that. We'll say that.
Yeah. So what would you, if you look at it, what would you be like, oh, this is like probably some tips or some things that I would give? And let's not even make it Salesforce. Let's just say a company in general, where they're like, yo, we have a amazing platform. People love us. Our product's incredible. But it's like, man, like we're not very user friendly. Like the site has a lot of stuff on it. It's really busy. People have a tough time finding things. People say, you know, it just doesn't feel that good. What are just some tidbits of advice that you would give?
So are you saying any company in general? Just
you're consulting me. So Brittany, please, the techisthenewblack website.
I never
looks.
done that.
Yeah, you're putting you on the spot. This was so unplanned. This was so unplanned, by the way.
Oh gosh.
Okay, Brittany. Okay, so let's.
Well,
Pull out your phone and show her the website so you can give a practice.
Well, you know what? There are two things right now on the iOS system that I'm like, why? Okay. So one of the things is right now when they have they want to recommend a password. Do you guys have that? Why is there number one, everyone knows that we don't like passwords, right? And we always have to get new passwords. So why would you offer this super long, exaggerated password that I'm not going to remember, right? That is a terrible experience. No one ever says, yes, let's use that password. Do you guys do that?
No, never.
Never. It's like 40 characters.
So for me, I will look at the data on the back end. How many people are clicking this? If not, then let's remove it.
Exactly.
It's a screen. So another thing, when you guys are taking pictures and you have run out of storage, okay?
Yeah.
You have a pop-up that says settings are done or okay. But when you go to settings, you don't know how many pictures you need to delete of it. You need to get back to that storage space. So
you have to keep deleting and checking and deleting and checking.
And so
That's
why
true.
not tell me, hey, you need to delete X amount of megabytes or hey, suggest these, you know? So making that experience better.
Ooh.
That's what, for me.
That's $1 million worth of game right there. Like that alone.
Like those two little things, like every time on my phone, I'm like, oh, like who's working on the experience in this?
I love that you shared that. Look, y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here on Tech is New Black. So when you see Apple do it, and you know who they got it from. They was watching Tech is New Black and they heard Miss Brittany Barr give that bar. They don't call her Miss Brittany Barr for nothing.
Oh, okay.
That's so corny. I bet you've heard that all your life.
I do. Brittany Barr. But that's the experience piece. So I would then go to my data folks or my researcher. Hey, let's pull up to see how many times this is actually being clicked. If not, then we know that isn't helping the experience.
Yeah.
So that's something that so I look at apps all day and I'm like, who's working on this?
Oh my gosh, I'm curious. Do you? And I'm like this again. This wasn't a question that was on here. Do you do consultations?
I do not.
Are you considering it?
Because
there are business owners. They're like, they're watching, listening to Tech is the New Black, and they probably need some help with their stuff. So you're not like, even if it's like a paid consultation, you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm good, love,
I would say one thing about me is I'm in a very, very comfortable place right now. I do handle a lot of products with my company. So I handle, maybe 5 products right now. Mm-hmm. And when I shut that off, I want to shut it off.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. You like, when I clock out, I clock out.
Right, because I'm a creative. Yeah. So, I do a lot of things outside of work. But right now with my company, it helps me use my analytical and critical thinking skills. Yeah. And, making good money. And I just like to cut it off after.
Yeah. I respect it. You gotta. It's good to have those boundaries and stuff. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So, I love it. Thank you for talking about the difference between those 3. Now, all right. So this was something that actually shocked me, and I think I remembered. I think this might have been I can't remember when, but I know that there was a point. And I remember this question coming up, but I know there was a point in time that you wanted to quit being in tech.
Yes.
So first off, when was that, and like why? Like what?
That was when I first got into tech. So I want to say that was around 2015, 16. I had been in tech for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I was actually a business analyst. Okay. And I just knew very quickly that I didn't have this.
Is that even on your LinkedIn?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, technical analyst, business analyst.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so again, when I first got into tech, I knew nothing about UX. And so because I did have a design degree, they let me come in as a technical analyst or business analyst. So I came in that way. But I quickly knew that wasn't a role for me. I'm a true creative. And so really being hands down, working, again, critical thinking skills, problem solving, but sitting in meetings, just making sure, that's not my thing. Yeah. And so I just knew very quickly that I wasn't probably going to succeed in that role. And so I started doing some shadow work with other designers and make it be known to managers that this wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to get my foot in the door, but I had a goal to eventually go over to a designer.
Now, when did you share that with them? I'm assuming you didn't share that during the interview.
No. So no. In the beginning, no, I did. So State Farm is an amazing company as to where they like to get good people in and then really see where your skill sets are and where they can place you. And so even when I came in with State Farm, just doing claims rep work before I even got into tech, my manager, asked me then, what is your end goal? I was like, well, I have a graphic design degree. I want to get in somewhere where I'm creative. So I learned the company and the business for about 2 years and then went over into tech. When I got into the business analyst role, again, learning the process, but I knew I didn't have the skills to succeed. So I let them know, hey, my goal is to be here. And so they make sure they aligned me with products that I could do a little design work on, not a lot, but do a little bit here and there. And eventually I kind of built that skill set up. But they've known for a very long time where I really wanted to go with the company. So, and they are always giving like educational pieces. Like right now I want to go into AR. And we just started up an AR department. And so I'm really trying to like, hey, I'm really interested in this,
Oh my God. Wait. Oh, it makes sense. My my knee-jerk reaction was like, why would State Farm want to build out an AR? It actually makes perfect sense.
Every company wants.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes sense specifically for State Farm, and not to limit it to this, but I can imagine like, okay, maybe they can see certain scenarios with maybe accidents.
Yes, so much stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot to do. I actually last night I went to a VR this thing called. I'll shout it out. I'm always really big on being like, I ain't about to shout them out. They ain't paying then. But Sandbox. Have you went to it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you have to go to it. It's off. It's right by Velvet Taco. Okay. The Putt Shack. But it's this VR game. Like, and you go there with friends. It's so submersive. Really? It's so realistic. Like we put it on. We were in a downtown city in a zombie apocalypse. Really? And when I tell you, it almost looked as real as you sitting right here. Okay. And I mean, the zombies were running from different angles, jumping on stuff. Dogs were coming. Wow. And I mean, and you're there with people, and you can see your hands, like not your actual hands, but the suit that you're wearing. Right. It was incredible. Right. Yeah. So And all that, and obviously that's VR, but you're talking about AR. But still, nevertheless, it's like that stuff is fire.
Right.
Fire.
I mean, there's so many innovative things going on with the company right now, and I'm like, with where we're going with the tech in general, like I actually wanted to get into AR years ago.
So what would you do as an AR designer?
I have no idea.
You just like
I've always loved animation, visual effects and things of that sort. So now that we're in this era, I'm like, I'm itching for it.
Yes.
So
again,
the best way, I don't, being with the company, just, for them to move you around a lot and gain experience in different, industries. That's my goal next, to tap into that.
That's fire.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yo, hey, I believe it's the same way you made that transition into where you're at now.
I know I can.
You're going to be able to do the same. That being said, so one of the things I'm interested in is that you have been like gang with your company. You've been there for, basically 12 years now.
12 years.
So job hopping, as we know, is an incredibly, it's a very popular thing in the world in general, or in most industries in general, but no industry like the tech industry.
Right.
It's like very much so recommended. Like I've job hopped a few times, and most people's reasoning for job hopping is usually because you see a exponential increase in pay every time you job hop, especially if you job hop to a company that might be, let's not say a competitor, but they're in the same space. But you, I'm shocked when I see people that are at a company for 4 years.
I know.
You've been there for 12 years.
Right.
And so now,
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
First off, that's obviously a testament to State Farm, how good of a company they are.
Yes.
But that being said, why, outside of you being loyal, why have you not taken advantage of being like, yo, I'm going to get all this extra money by hopping over somewhere else?
So, well, first, because it's not about the money for me. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not. For me, it's definitely job security, number one.
Yeah.
But then number two, the work environment. I have seen plenty of people come to State Farm and leave and then want to come back. I've seen plenty of people leave for X amount of dollars and then a year later they're not with that company anymore. And that doesn't feel safe to me. I can definitely say State Farm has amazing benefits. But for the biggest thing for me is the work-life balance and the environment. I have a completely separate business. I'm also an entrepreneur and been able to just be very flexible. And also just the culture for me. For me, State Farm really does pour into development of their employees. Wow. And I have interviewed outside, but I just didn't, for me, I've just never felt that a company would feel like a family more than State Farm does. Yeah. But again, that's that loyalty to the company. But
so, in other words, my man. I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to my man, State Farm, my man.
Pretty much.
No, I love it. No, I love that. And that's a really beautiful thing to hear. And because I mean, we are in an era, and I mean, I'm one of the people I can say this where it's like we are in an era where it's like, yo, like the money comes first. But it's really beautiful that now obviously you're getting compensated well.
I am.
You're getting the coins.
I am.
But that being said, for you to say, you know what, and you know what, in the space I'm in, what I'm doing, I just want to be at a place where there's security, where I'm treated well, I have the things I need, so that way I have the clarity of mind to then focus on what I want to focus on outside. Now, I am curious, what is your business outside of your job?
So I have a home decor line right now, and I'm also
putting that design. I see you
design.
Yeah.
But I'm also expanding into I would say making. Of course, I'm an artist as well, but making my art more AR. So right now I'm working on an app. I'm not going to share yet. Okay. But that's to come.
I think I'm not going to say it on here because I'm going to keep it exclusive.
Okay, yeah.
But I think once we done recording, I think I might be seeing where you're going.
Okay.
If it's where I think, either way, wherever you're going, I'm sure it's going to be dope.
Yeah.
But okay, cool.
Yo, so for everybody that's interested in what this guest is talking about and you would love a similar career, I suggest you check out Course Careers Bootcamp. Course Careers is a bootcamp that I have been partnered with for well over a year now, and they have helped more people break into tech, I'll be honest, than any other bootcamp that I've personally seen. So look, Course Careers is only $500, that's it. But if you use our discount code, Cyrus50, you'll get an additional $50 off. So that way all you pay is actually $449. That's it. No additional price later, no extra costs, extra fees. That's it with the price for Course Careers. Now, they're a self-paced bootcamp that you can take and be able to get a variety of different roles in tech. So make sure you check them out. Use our link below in that discount code if you want an additional $50 off, and keep us posted on your journey breaking into tech.
So look, what is the difference? So we talked about big tech versus like startups, or big tech versus small tech. I talked about that on a podcast with people before.
Okay.
But there's something that like offline you brought up that I thought was really interesting, where you're like, yo, there's also like house tech.
In-house.
Or in-house tech. Yeah, thank you. So what is the difference between someone working in big tech versus working in a startup versus working in-house tech?
Okay. So for me, again, State Farm is a really big company, right? But we're not a tech company, big tech company.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much having like a startup tech company within a big organization.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And for me, that's where I've always, again, no hate or shade to the big tech companies, but I've always steered away from those companies just because I feel like you may be just a number there, right? I've seen, again, people leave State Farm and go to these big tech companies. Again, you're let go. But when you find a big company with a small tech department built inside, pretty much a startup. When I started with InTech and State Farm, it was 7 of us, 12 of us. We were like the startup of the tech company within State Farm. So it's kind of having that startup feel, right? Where you're able to get your hands in a lot of different roles. I was a UX designer. I've been an architect. I've been a generalist, getting that experience. But having for me, again, the financial security of a large company.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the biggest difference. It's like having that family feel of a startup, but with a company that can really provide you the resources, right, to get applications out there. Whereas for startups, things may, flow a little differently. So it's a startup inside of a big company, pretty much.
That's incredible. And I love that so much because, it makes sense for, a company to say, hey, we need to have this thing built out. And it's like, yo, let's actually have a team that they're dedicated and it's treated as if it's their business. Right. They're over it.
They get to know your customers. They pay attention to your customers.
Fire.
Right.
And then, but you also still are bankrolled by the company.
Right.
So it's like you mentioned, it's like having a startup, but you have a huge investor that's like, yo, we're going to bankroll what you need. We're going to pay for it. We got you.
Right.
All of that. So it's really, it's really the best of both worlds. People love the startup feel, But the only thing that sucks about the startup is that it's like, there's not a lot of money. And people love the money from like big companies or big tech. But the only issue is that you usually feel like a number.
Right.
But I love that, where it's like you could really have the best of both worlds.
You really can. So if you can find a company that's moving away from agency work and they're trying to build up their tech company in-house, that's what I would look for.
Yeah. That's incredible. So what you mentioned before, you being a creative, do you think, usually people come to me and they're like, hey, I want to, what's a role for me to do in tech if I'm an introvert, or if I'm an extrovert, or if I want to, or if I'm a creative? And obviously creative is a very broad term. It's like, well, like I'm a creative, but I'm not a designer. I was a poet, And so that being said, would you say that UI or UX or research, even though again all of those are three completely different things, would you say that those are roles that someone has to be a creative in terms of being good at designing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So how could someone be a designer but not necessarily have to be good initially at designing?
So that's me.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will tell you right now, I am probably not the best designer.
Yeah.
However, when you really think about products, right? And again, it depends on, all companies are different, but usually you have already a library built of design. So you're just putting components together on a screen. So you don't have to design from scratch, right? You have buttons built out. You have all these different templates for you already. So no, you don't have to be a good designer. You have to understand, you have to be a good problem solver, critical thinker, and having a lot of strategy behind your solutions. So more so those skills. Also, I would say having empathy for your customers. That's a big thing. I don't think people really understand. But
what's the value of that, of having empathy for a customer?
So that you can build the best experience for them. Again, it is always going back to what they want, having empathy for their pain points, like I mentioned before. Having empathy for me having to continue to go to settings and delete photos out of my phone, right? That irks
It's like
me.
I don't want them to have to be inconvenienced to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, to be whether it's a product owner, product designer, architect, designer, researcher, it's really about empathy for your customer and problem solving for that.
There's something that Jeff Bezos says a lot, something that he coined specifically for Amazon, where he's like, yo, we don't believe in customer service, we believe in customer obsession.
Yes.
Where it's like, they obsessed over thinking like, what can we do to make things better for our customer? And it's that is really the best way to think about it. Instead of just being like, okay, well, what is it they're asking for? Okay, they're asking for this. It's like, well, no, let me go above and beyond that. Let me put myself in their shoes and let me really like rack my brain and be like, man, what can I do for them just to move the needle just a little bit more that would benefit them?
And that's how you get a loyal customer.
Yeah.
When you focus on that, that's how you keep the customers coming back.
Yeah.
Number one.
All right, so how can someone stay ahead of the curve in this industry? Because even, again, we talked about before about, okay, man, you've been at your company for so long, you've been loyal. But on the flip side, the fact that the fact you've been at your company for as long as you have also speaks to the reality that you've made sure that you've been on your P's and Q's, not just sitting in your job, but it maybe like updating your skill set, updating your knowledge, so that way your value would remain at the company. So what are some ways that people can make sure that when they get in the tech industry, or let's say they're at a non-tech company that has technology like State Farm, that they are also able to secure themselves for longevity in the industry?
Right. YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
I am constantly on YouTube, and also just networking. So, I love to go to different networking events and talking to people and like, hey, what programs are you using? What applications are you using? That's one of the things for me, I feel like has helped me kind of stay like alert of like what's going on. Because even like an application, I've been using Sketch forever, right? To do like, it's an application we use to design like apps and stuff. Cool. I've been using that for forever. And then all of a sudden, I had an intern a year ago and she was talking about Figma. And I'm like, what is Figma? Yeah. Like I am not up to speed. Yeah. And so I knew then, like, okay, Brittany, you need to like get back out there, hear what's going on. And so funny that our company moved over to Figma literally like 6 months later. So luckily I was already kind of in there.
Exactly, yeah.
But I would just say, like, honestly, I am constantly like looking up UX trends, literally every month, trying to see what's trending, looking ahead of the curve. I do a lot of online conferences that's more so tailored towards, again, UI, UX, or some type of research, but I'm doing that monthly. Yeah. Because it's always expanding. There's always new things coming out. As a practitioner of UX, my biggest thing is also making sure I'm always staying up on the software that's coming out and the skills. So
I love that so much, because one of the things that I've seen, because a lot of people, with everything we've been doing with Tech as the New Black, as well as myself, has been, people have been wanting to get in the industry because they're like, yo, I want to get the bag, I want to get this money, and it's okay, that's cool. Or they're like, yo, they just want a lifestyle change. They're like, man, I want a better lifestyle, I want, all of these other components, or maybe they want to work remote if they're at that type of company. So we see those reasons, but one of the things I've seen is that people get in and they're like, oh, I'm in, okay, cool, I'm chill out. And I love you speaking to the reality that, yo, you need to stay on top of things, because this isn't like most other industries where you just kind of get in and now you just do the job, you're good at the job, and that's it. You're just good at the job. Right. It's like, no, it's an industry where, like you mentioned, like your an intern came in and mentioned something.
And I'm like, what is
that? Instead of you being traditional and saying like, well, I don't know, that we don't use that, we use this here. You're like, no. It's important for me to learn about these things, to be aware, even if we never use it, just so I at least have an understanding as to what it is and I can speak to it, or maybe make a suggestion to the company, or, whatever that might look like. And so I think it's really important that like people really absorb what she shared and the value of it, to make sure that you're not just getting in this industry or getting a technical job or getting a job in tech or doing something like even at a non-tech company and being like, oh, I'm good, but that you are always on top of it. And that's why, I mean, we talk a lot about networking events, whether it's a tech event, and I mean, I'm sure there are like design events, there's pre-sales events for like sales engineers and tech sales people, there's cybersecurity events, and it's really important that that everybody really kind of takes that to heart and stays on top of it. And the other cool thing about it is like, I mean, it's cool to network and meet cool people.
It is.
It's always dope. It's always dope. All right, so look, we have, we want to go ahead and check over with the Patreon community. We have been streaming live with the Patreon community right now. For those of y'all that do not know, we do have a dedicated Patreon community. And one of the benefits of our highest tier of the Patreon community is that they are able to actually watch our podcast live. Now, many of you don't know, but we actually don't film a podcast episode every single week. We actually batch record. So we film roughly 8 guests in one day, once a month. And it's actually going to go up to like 16 guests in like 1 or 2 days in the same month. And so, because we just got a network deal. We just joined the Neatness Network.
Okay.
And so they're like,
congratulations.
Yo, thank you. We're incredibly excited. That, plus we just crossed over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
So it's been up. It's been up.
Hey, y'all, we have some incredible news that I'm super excited about, to finally announce our private tech community. Yes, you heard that right. A private tech community exclusively for you all who want more than just the podcast. You want more than just the FAQs. You want to talk with tech recruiters. You want to talk with hiring managers. You want to talk with coaches. You want to talk with people that can help with editing and rewriting your resume. Maybe you're somebody where you just want to be a part of a community where we're talking about updates of what's happening in the software industry. Y'all, this community that we've launched is also going to involve a Discord where we're going to be talking about updates in tech. We're going to be talking about companies that are hiring. We're going to be talking about upcoming tech events. So that way you don't have to miss any of the gems that I know, but not even just what I know, but the gems that friends of mine that are also in the tech industry know as well. So if you want to be a part of that community, go ahead and sign up so that way you can join us. We have a few different tiers. Ultimately, it's all tuned in for you. Oh, and last thing, also within this community, we're going to be streaming all of our interviews with our podcast guests. So instead of you having to wait months to watch the videos later on, you'll actually be able to watch the interviews in real time and ask your live questions to those guests. So make sure you join our tech community.
And so that being said, one of the things that we do is that we allow our Patreon members to be able to have access to the full day of streaming of all the different guests, and are able to like interact, ask questions, you know, all those different things. So that way they're able to get more insight than just watching or listening like after the fact. Okay. But they can like ask during. So they're going to be popping in and out all throughout the day. Eric, what questions do we have? Any questions right now from the Patreon community? Basically, what would be an example of a design, whether UI or UX, that's presented and the company says, yeah, no, we don't like that, we don't agree with that, but the designer, or in this case the senior product designer, would kind of double down and say, no, I really believe this is the direction that we should go in.
Yeah, so that actually happens a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have to understand that a lot of companies have a lot of technical constraints, right? You have hackers that come in and things of that sort. I think for me, I would love for, in order to log onto your app, you just, I don't know, do something quick. But a lot of times I will hand over work, and it happens a lot. And there may be some technical constraints on the back end in which they can't do it because of security reasons. Or again, I'm with an insurance company, so it's a lot more,
precautions.
Yeah, precautions. So even though the experience may be amazing, or I may hand over something, it's just not feasible.
Because even when you design something, it's almost like, I don't want to call it this, but even when you design something, it's almost like a prototype in a way.
Right.
But then you have to give it over to the developers to then they have to confirm if they can actually build that thing out.
So yes and no. So I feel like any developer can actually build anything out.
Yeah, but it's more so if there's some type of, not flaw, but if there's a risk or a threat, if they do it.
So that's what it is, the risk and the threat. And you have to kind of weigh those. More than likely the risk is going to be more important, especially if you talk about insurance, right? But a lot of times there are technical constraints, and then I have to go back to the drawing board and pretty much think of a different solution. So usually a lot of times when I design, I may solution or ideate 3 or 4 different ideas, present them to business, give them recommendations.
So different versions of it.
Oh, yes. So I'm never presenting off one design.
Okay.
You're constantly that's a horrible way to design if you have one solution. There's never one right way to do anything. Yeah. So I will maybe present 4 or 5 designs. We'll talk through them, cancel out what needs to cancel out, and then we'll test kind of what works best. Yeah. But that happens a lot. I'll hand off something, they'll get it, and then it's like, oh, we can't do this. That's also why it's important to have the right players at the table early. So when I'm thinking through ideas, they can let me know, well, unfortunately, because of this risk, we can't do that. Instead of me just building something out, handing over, wasting dollars and time, trying to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. But yeah, that happens a lot. A lot.
I have so many questions, but if we have time, I'll ask at least 1 or 2 of them. But what's the next question we have from the Patreon community? The question is, what are some of your biggest designer icks where you might see either people that you've worked with or even other companies where people are doing something, you're like, why are you doing that wrong? Why don't you get this or understand this? Or like a common mistake that you see?
I think for me is, did you do any research in data and data searching on the back end? Like, have you done research on this customer? I think the biggest thing that a lot of designers do is they go right into just designing. And it's like, no, it's the research. It's the research. It's going to be 80% research and testing. And I would say 70% research and testing and 30% designing.
Yeah, wow.
And designing should be the last thing that you're doing, the very last thing. Whenever you have an idea, whether it's for an app, do research, do prototyping and test. Yeah. The last thing you should do is worry about how it looks. Yeah. You should worry about how it feels.
That's incredible. That kind of makes me think a lot about sales engineering, where the sales engineers, same thing, pain points. You're worried about the customer prospects' pain points. And they're a prospect, so they're not even a client yet. They're just considering going into business, going into contract with the company. And so as a sales engineer, you're doing the demo or the presentation of the company's technology to the prospect. But it's like before that, you do a discovery call that's anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour and a half long, where you're just asking questions. And it's all about just knowing every detail of the company, of what they need, of their issues, their pain points, what'll happen if you don't have this,
right.
How is this affecting your bottom line? Are people like just all different types of granular questions, and then the demo. But the demo usually lasts about 30, 45 minutes, but preparing for the demo, using those pain points, that's like sometimes a 2-3 day process, just preparing. So like people see the demo or they hear about the demoing part and it's like, yeah, but you got to do a lot of research. You have to like do a lot of prep and then the demo. And that's
right.
it.
I was that person that would design first until the product started failing. So I would think I have this amazing design, right? And then we'll go into testing. Testing is really important. Going to testing.
And is that usually with the QA testers?
So that will be like once it's actually built. This is this is like wire. So just like very lightly sketched, probably typed out, doesn't look. But when they go through testing, it's like, okay, I built this strong. They're going to understand when I put here, the click here, they're going to get that. And then we go into testing and they're completely confused, or they use it completely different, then I have failed.
Yeah. Wow.
For building this product for the customer. And so a lot of times after failing, you realize like, okay, I need to put the design to the back and understand the research.
Wow.
Yeah. You'll get there once you start failing and they're not using the application at all how you imagine them to use it. So
that's incredible. You know what? There's so much that aspiring business owners can learn about this. Where people assume, they're like, yo, I'm gonna put this thing out, it's gonna hit, it's gonna be successful, everybody's gonna want it. And it's like, well, no, like, did you actually
understand your audience, research your audience?
Yeah, truly know. Like, okay, is it what you're assuming they're gonna like? Or are you like confident, like really confident, or like based on the thorough research that you've done?
Yes, the data that's given to you.
Yeah.
And UX is not just technical. Like it's in every, like you said, in businesses, it's in everything.
Yeah.
So just, again, if you can make a good experience for the customer, you make a loyal customer.
Yeah.
Love retention.
That so much. Love that so much. So look, we're about to be up on time. Want to give you the floor to share with the people like anything you have on your heart, or just like last pieces you want to give to them.
Yeah. So if you are looking to get into tech, I would definitely say look into other roles like product designer, product management, researcher. There are a lot of roles in tech where you can really use your critical thinking, analytical skills, and just having representation in that space really does make the experience better for everyone. Like right now when I'm designing, right now we aren't using photos and infographics, but when we'd drop in, something that represents me, so it's really important. So outside of, I know everyone thinks of tech as coding, but there are a lot of other areas in tech, even content writers writing the content, so. How
do you, and this is a last question, oh man, this is such a curveball question too. But I'm sure you've thought about this though. How do you see AI affecting the designing space?
So very interesting. It's interesting. I would say it can definitely possibly remove some jobs, right? Yeah. But as well, if you can use AI, then you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
It is very interesting. And I mean, realistically, we know eventually could be 20 years, 30 years, 10 years. Eventually, is going to affect every job in every industry.
But also create jobs too. I feel like.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
And that's what it's about. No, for real.
So learning how to use it, I think, is
going back to what you said. Staying on top.
That's why I'm getting into it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's why you getting into
it? So
okay.
I'm looking over into
I'm gonna be good because I already got my thing over here.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.